Right, all right, all right. We are here, present, alive. Thinking being. I think we never realize that we're thinking beings, that we think that we can see things, we can imagine things. And I think as someone who's like very imaginative in so many different ways, I think I not using my imagination to the best of my ability. And I mean it in a sense of like how do I start to imagine like next steps, and how do I imagine how things will unfold? How do I think through certain problems and see perhaps 50 steps ahead? Um, as much as I do preach around like why we want to imagine and why it's important, I think I'm a very, very tactical person in a sense of like I kind of move with intuition and I move with a certain flow. And I sometimes I think there's a lot of value to that. I think there's different times and different frames that one can start to move with more um, intuitive ways, but I also do see there is power in thinking through different steps and different stages and different ways in one's life. Um, I think that is important to do, and I think I'm having to do that a lot in my life now, and I think it's not a negative thing. I think it's important to do that. um I think a lot of this week in Los Angeles has been a very interesting, cool, creative, exciting, in many ways, because I'm having to move to a new home, a new location. So I'm looking for the new place that I will be staying in Los Angeles. And I'm like thinking about what are the different neighborhoods that I could be living in, and who are the people that I'll be surrounded by, or at least in the new roommates or different communities in different pockets of the city. By nature of moving to a new location, I think things will be different in a way. So I'm starting to imagine like what is the type of lifestyle, type of energy, and the type of like way of life that I would embrace. And I think as a painter, I would love more time to paint, and more time to like really express myself through like the 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 pastel color pastels, the acrylics, um, to the canvas, through sort of the art in LA, generally artists in LA, like getting to know and understand more artists. I think that is a really, really cool vision I'm thinking about, and that frame. Um, I also think that having like a sort of groundedness and the neighborhood and the community, and there's actually a sort of collective connecting, in the neighborhood, at least in terms of like, because I remember growing up in Haiti, like I knew all my neighbors, like all the neighbors that at least we celebrated our birthdays together. We celebrated our the communion together. We had like events. We were invited to each other's festivities. It was very much like a mini kingdom in a way of like us really knowing who like the neighbors are, and I think we don't get that a lot in the U.S. I don't think we do, and I think what I'm thinking about the future and perhaps imagining what could be, I think what I'm yearning for is a place and time that I can do the work that I want to do, which is to do more art and to paint more art, which I am doing. I think it's just kind of living with that identity as a main lens into the world, as I world build, as I connect through other people and communities, events that I organize. I think just the journey of being a painter, because I didn't start doing painting. Like I first wanted to be international relations, like diplomacy. How do you look at systems of governance and systems of policy making, international funding? How do you create peace, and how do you create healthy communities? So learning about restorative justice, trauma healing, um, did a whole master's in that. And I think I moved towards the storytelling aspect of things, especially in around 2016. And a lot of that storytelling was through writing, imagining new worlds and possibilities through words and through stories, through getting groups of people to imagine new worlds. I think that that's the sort of world building aspect that I'm known for. And I think painting for me is an opportunity to express, like, on a very tactical level, a community or home. Like, I consider LA my home, and it's a complex city with so much to navigate to. So many people are brought here for different reason. It has beautiful beaches, beautiful mountains, um incredible culture, legacy and myth. And you also have the brunt of capitalism. Just, it's a working town. You got to work, you got to hustle, you got to do what you need to do. I think LA became, or at least even the state of California became, like, the fourth largest economy, I think, 2 months ago. No, third largest economy, California, which beat out Japan, which Japan had that title for over a decade. And so there's something happening here. And I think through painting, I get to explore in a creative ways the speculative futures, my home, my how I guess my experience living here, my experience, like, how I understand the different locations that I get to see and that I enjoy. And I hope to show that to you guys even more that of that too. So I think when I'm imagining the future and the need to see multiple steps ahead, I am imagining very deeply the type of lifestyle that I would want, the type of community, the type of 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 who I am as a character, my values. Are they forged even deeper than the ones that I have now? Am I living in integrity and in alignment with myself? And yeah, and also, am I making ridiculously a large amount of money? I think that's also part of the sort of journey of things. And I also feel that an aspect of this as well is to, like, that the transformative power of the art is the things that I'm creating impacting people very meaningfully, deeply, to see things differently, to feel things, to reflect a level of beauty that perhaps they haven't sensed before. At least that would be the aim of my art, in a way. But I think a lot of it is my own self exploration of my experience here in Los Angeles through these speculative beings that I weave stories and narratives, in this sort of future LA, or even an autobiographical self-documenting experiences that I've had living here as a Haitian American from the Caribbean. Um, but yeah, I think when thinking about one's future, or at least where one wants to go, I think imagination can help. And I think that imagination is really, how do you paint a whole image of the reality in the future that you want? And I think that's incredibly important, to truly. Yes, I think someone has to feel, smell, taste, hear, sense. What are you touching with your hands when you look at that future? What do you smell? Is it incense? Um is it a, a rose? Um is it the smell of the ocean? Um what do you hear? Do you hear sizzling fires of a dish that you think you will be making and you enjoy? Is it the smell of a coffee? Um, is it the sound of a bird? What does it feel? Is it the prickliness of a cactus? or the soft hair of a cat. What does that future look like? And I feel like one has to do that. When at least I'm having to do that. And through this conversation as well, through a sort of seeing that gives way for possible steps to rise, all the possible steps. Because you paint the world, you move into that world. So I think I'm imagining the future of art and colors and vision and community and love and financial wealth and an even better body in terms of fitness and the striving that I'm having to do. So I think there is a an incredible magic and power in doing something like that. Truly.